Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Deonte Burden, aka Mr. Short Dollar himself. Got an awesome show planned for you guys tonight. Tonight's topic will be discussing you really don't have a business, and the topic was, inspired by a lot of people have been coming to me in the past few months in regards to getting denied for some of these grant opportunities, getting denied for loan applications, different situations that they've been denied for, and it was really an issue. They were denied because they weren't in compliance. They didn't necessarily have a true business set up. They actually were doing the operations of a business, but they didn't have the structure or the entity set up being a business. So I want to have that conversation tonight in regards to you really don't have a business, to discuss what people are doing wrong, what they need to do, understanding your temperament, understanding your personality. If you want to, have a business, you want to hustle, whichever way you want to go. So we're going to have a great show tonight discussing that again. You really don't have a business. Before we get started, you guys know I am Deonte Burden. My show is the YouTube channel is Mr. Short Dollar. On Mr. Short Dollar, we talk about personal finance, business, entrepreneurship, and investing. As you can see, I'm not in the studio this week. We a big shout out to Slick 316, one of the producers of the show. She's a little ill right now, so probably for the next couple weeks, I might be doing it here at the home lab and everything. But it's cool. I'm nice and cozy right now. But just want to give a big shout out to Slick. I hope she get well soon. We just rehashing the previous week, guys. We still out in the middle of the pandemic. We got the Delta variant going on, still COVID-19 cases on the rise. So, like I always say, practice stuff you learned in pre-K. Wash your hands, cover your mouth, keep a little distance between people and stuff. And I think we'll try our best to be okay with that. The other thing rehashing, I want to give a big shout out to my son PJ Burden. He's leaving to go to college on next Wednesday. He got a military scholarship. Got to drop him off at the Service Academy next Wednesday. So big shout out to PJ. Matter of fact, he's leaving tomorrow. I got to drop him off about 6 in the morning. He's doing his little drill thing. He'll be gone for like 3 or 4 days down Fort McCullough. But he'll be back Sunday, and I got to drop him off at college on Wednesday. Another shout out to my son Tori, my oldest son. He's a defensive back coach at Luella High School in Hampton, Georgia. He'll be coaching his first game tomorrow. They have a scrimmage game tomorrow night. So big shout out to T. I'll be at his at the scrimmage game tomorrow. So my kids made me pretty excited, pretty proud of all of them. Also, guys, we're right at the cusp of it. I think we had 15,800 or some subscribers. I know my man Lab always be working the boards and let me know these numbers, but we're right at the cusp of it. I almost said 16,000 subscribers for Mr. Short Dollar. So I need you guys, tell all your family and friends, co-workers, whatever, to subscribe to the YouTube channel, Mr. Short Dollar. Right down the cusp of it. It's cool, man. I really appreciate everything because I'm looking at my goal board right ahead of me, Mr. Short Dollar. My goal was to have 10,000 subscribers, and look at we at 16, a little bit past the middle of the year. So we've exceeded our goals for the year, but hell, we're here, so we might well go a little bit higher. So I'm super excited about that. So again, please share the channel with all your family and friends, anybody you know. We try to do our best to do a lot of good work for everybody, put a lot of good information out with everyone. Right now, we're streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. So we're on all the different platforms. So one thing I want to do just from a housekeeping perspective, tonight's show, again, we're talking about you really don't have a business. If you have any questions outside of that, I would ask you to hold them. And what I would do at the end of the show, I promise you, I'll come back, circle back with you guys to let you know exactly what, I'll answer your questions, the best I can with that. So if you can, hold up on everything till the end of the show. If it doesn't have anything to do with the particular show topic that we're discussing today, please hold up on that. So, but if it's anything that's regarding what we're talking about tonight, please feel free to interact. Like I said, I'm working all the boards right now with the Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and the YouTube. So please bear with me with that. But I appreciate you guys tuning in. Again, tonight we're talking about, you really don't have a business. And I go back to, you have a lot of people out right now. They have a lot of skill sets and they do a lot of, hustles. And, when you get at this prerequisite, there's nothing wrong with either one. But I think about a couple months ago, I had a tree hit my house. So I went through the whole process of getting, vetting contractors. So I had this one brother. He seemed real cool, man. He might be listening to the show right now. But he we went through the whole process of talking, yeah, man, I got a such and such construction. He like, man, you look like, probably my sign when he started talking about, man, kind of like look like a godly man. Every time I hear that word, they tell me I look like a godly man. I know they have some damn BS. But he was talking about, we can do this. And he actually knew the construction lingo in regards to getting everything done. I don't know if you guys have ever been through the process of having a claim on your home or something. It's a little different from getting a claim on your house as far as repairs. You actually need to have someone in place that actually knows the lingo in regards to dealing with the insurance adjusters. So, just like insurance adjuster give you a check or say this is what they feel like is the damage, you need to have a contract in place to be able to say, this is I don't agree with this and this is why, and be able to speak the language. And this brother, he seemed pretty cool. He gave me like the estimates and everything that was cool. But something just told me, Deonte, because same thing I tell you guys, vet these people. Man, let me see I want to see that he had the proper insurance just in case if he were to get injured on doing the property. I wanted to make sure that I started doing looking up, see was his company incorporated with the state and everything. And this is after he done gave me a damn estimate, and I couldn't find anything. He didn't have a liability insurance policy, the coverage just in case he made some kind of damage on my house. We didn't have anything, no kind of recourse set up in regards to if he did didn't finish the job to protect me or anything like that. You know, most contractors that are state licensed that have that kind of stuff on them. And he just, once I started asking about it, he got super defensive. Now, there's no doubt in my mind that the brother could do the work. You know, I'm pretty sure he showed me pictures. I really think he could do the work. I've seen some video that he had done. But from a compliance standpoint, he wasn't in a damn business. Like, I could not find where his business was incorporated. When I started asking questions, he put the damn boxing gloves on. He defended himself. Well, I do bigger jobs than this. And you know, again, my repairs came up to almost $30,000. And I mean, I'm pretty sure he said he done bigger jobs, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, you know, I can't see how somebody would trust him with a bigger job than that, or even a job they don't see. Because, you know, if they don't see that you have the proper paperwork, because you don't mind giving Mr. Charlie, but they just got to hang a door, place some sheetrock up, paint something. You want to give them a couple $100, maybe $1,000 at most. You just cut some corners. We don't mind doing that. But we start talking upwards, you know, over $10,000, $1,000 with certain things. You really don't want to really, you know, play around too much, depending on what it is, because again, you don't have any kind of recourse to protect yourself. And there are a lot of people out here that have a great skill set that really aren't functioning in compliance with everything. And I just want to have that discussion today, because I don't think people understand by them not being in compliance, because how that's you know, hurting them, and they shouldn't have expectations of a business that is properly structured. I remember when I first started business. This is my 20th year in business, and I'm not a CPA. My undergrad is in finance, and my master's in supply chain. But we're an accounting firm. We don't do any audits or do any kind of, you know, science in regards to what CPAs can do. And I got a video set up with probably the difference between a bookkeeper, an accountant, and a CPA. Break that down, what the differences are. Long story short, I remember I spoke to a brother. This over 20 years ago, and he kind of poked me in my face when we were discussing, like, you know, prices. And I was like, well, you know, this isn't what a CPA, I'm not charging what a CPA charges. And he straight up said it, like, you can't charge what a CPA charges, you're not a CPA. And a lot of times you have people out here that aren't in compliance, have a business, they're not licensed, certain things, but they can do the work, and they feel some type of way, get defensive, because they want to charge certain things, but they can't do it because maybe they didn't go to a particular class, they didn't pay for a certain license, whatever reason is, they're not set up properly to do it. And that's what's really going on right now with a lot of these people that have these PPP, idle loan applications. They're trying to get business loans, get certain things. I get all kinds of emails, phone calls, comments on videos. Well, they want me to have this. They want you to have that. They expect me to have. Yeah, get it. If you want, it makes no damn sense to me if it just takes you a matter of, you know, getting incorporated, getting a bank account, and you got an opportunity to get, you know, $20, $30, $50, $100,000. Why the hell wouldn't you do that? But so many people, for whatever reason, they don't want to actually get the structure of their business set up, and they miss out on certain opportunities. Opportunity to get funding, opportunity to get contracts. So again, you got things that they're not able to do in regards to just doing certain business endeavors, because just like I spoke with a contractor, we couldn't do anything because he didn't have anything set in place. And again, he's saying he does bigger jobs, but you're still missing out on the opportunity to get that because he didn't have the proper paperwork. And I want to have that discussion with everybody in regards to being in business, because you got so many people, especially a lot of questions in regards to just startups. I don't think people understand the whole concept of a startup. People think because they're just starting up, that makes a startup. A startup is a new business, but it actually still is, a business that's incorporated, licensed, insured, and all that structural stuff. It's still a business. Just because a startup is not the idea that you just starting up. That's not what a damn startup is. A startup is still a business. It's just a new business. And a lot of people are getting the concept of, well, hey, I'm a startup. Do they give funding for a start? No, they'll give funding for startups, but a startup business, not a startup damn idea in your head. And that's what people are losing a lot of stuff, because, again, the structure and the compliance really isn't there. And so, again, I want to have that open discussion with everybody in regards to that this evening, because I thought with the amount of responses that I've been getting lately with a lot of people missing out on opportunities, we need to have that discussion because me being African American businessman and I'm a serial entrepreneur, like I've told you guys, I probably had about over 20 businesses in my life. You know, some did well, some I bought, sold, lost, and some I've really just messed the hell up. So I have a different insight from different industries on a lot of things with what you can do right and what you can do wrong. And that's why, you know, I probably do so well as a consultant because I have those experiences with doing it as opposed to a lot of people give you advice on things they really haven't done. But a lot of times people really, really don't take the time to get proper compliance. Why? Because it doesn't stop you from doing it. Kind of like what I always tell people in regards to hiring an accountant, hiring an attorney. People don't necessarily come to me or even get a lawyer on the front end because there's no barrier to entry. You can start that business up without getting an accountant. You know you need an accountant, you know you need an attorney, but it doesn't hinder you from doing it. And but because you don't need us, you don't come to us until you need us if something goes wrong. But unfortunately, at that particular time, we're so damn expensive when we have to fix stuff. You really, you know, in a real log jam because now you got to sit here and pay all this money for somebody because there was an error on that Google contract that you downloaded. There was a certain questionable steps you took that you weren't in compliance with, especially it can be from a legal standpoint, from a local, state or federal perspective. So by not getting the proper channel set up in place, you know, I always talk about that front end analysis and that front end setup. By not doing that, and you didn't have to do it to get started, you're able to get started without doing it. They a lot of times come back to bite you in the butt. You got somebody interacting, Black American News. You have to have your LLC or whatever business format before you can get started. Man. Absolutely. Let me put this on here. You have to. Black American Television News and Information. You have to have your LLC or whatever business format before you can start startup money. One of the things about it with it is that I think people, even with structures, set up your business, and I will always say this, guys, make sure you talk to some kind of professional in regards to be it your accountant, be it attorney, to kind of get the proper way. You have different pros and cons with certain businesses, and people tell you what the best way to do it, but it varies from person to person. So that's why I say seek some kind of counsel in regards to what kind of entity setup that you have. I can't stress that to you enough because, you know, I have videos coming out with breaking down the difference between LLCs, C Corps, and S Corps, but there are differences on it. But again, the decision makes still a case-by-case basis because all of us come into a situation with different variables in our lives that can dictate that. I haven't sold anything. Can I get a loan? You can get a loan without selling anything. It's just a matter of I'm sorry, this is the Shanika Spence. The question is, I haven't sold anything. Can I get a loan? You can do that. A bank won't hinder you with getting a loan if you haven't sold anything. The issue still comes back is the actual criteria that the bank is looking for. Do you still meet the criteria for that? Because you don't necessarily be making money. You can be, again, like we say, a startup, but it has to be a true business, again, startup. And they'll have criteria for a person that's in business that they're looking at and a person that's just starting in business, what they're looking at, okay? That's why we need to go look at the videos we have in regards to what investors want, what lenders want. I have videos for that on Mr. Short Dollar on YouTube. Like I said, again, I should have announced we have probably almost 300 videos on Mr. Short Dollar and dealing with, you know, finance, grants, entrepreneurship, operation systems, things like that. And I break that down. You know, it's all about, you know, finding out what the banker wants, and that can vary from banker to banker, what they put weight on in regards to that. But you don't have to sell anything to get a loan, but the criteria varies in regards to what a person is looking for. All right, see this. Let's go. What is like getting business credit for the first time when I have good personal credit? That's a good question. I want you to go. I have that video set up in regards to getting business credit. Just give you a brief summary with that, and I'm gonna hop back onto the show if I haven't been in business. In regards to business credit, personal credit, typically lenders look at two things, that being your income and your credit score. With business credit, lenders typically look at 5 things, that being your credit score, because they want a personal guarantor. Sometimes I know there's videos out there you don't have to have a personal guarantor, But typically, if it's a sizable loan, they're going to want to have a personal guarantor. They're going to look at that credit score and they typically want to be over 700. They're going to look at the income you have coming in. They're going to look at your experience. You're looking at the experience that you have in that particular industry. They're going to look at the actual industry that you're looking to get into. Just say if you're looking at a volatile industry, getting in, let's say a club or a restaurant, those ones that are high risk, it kind of shied away if you don't have experience or anything. And the last thing they're looking at will be collateral, what kind of money you can put up. And those are the 5 things they look at with an actual business loan. And typically, if 2 of those are off, you're probably going to get denied for that business loan. So that's kind of thing you need to look at it. So with good personal credit, again, they look at the score, but they take in a couple more factors when you look at the business loan. Again, they vary from lender to lender. But make sure you check out the other videos we got about finance. I got videos in regards to financing, what business lenders look for, break it down. So it's like I said, we have almost 300 videos on Mr. Short Dollar. So just when you get an opportunity, go check that out. And I think the steps we give to look at it will help you out. Okay, let me get back to the show. I'm gonna come back to everybody in regards to your questions in 1 second. Let me just get back with the show. One of the first things you gotta ask yourself is, when you looking at, we're talking about you really don't have a business, is first you gotta identify what you have, right? We got to first identify what we have. And I'm talking about if it's a business or whatever, or hustle. And you got to be honest with yourself. And the difference mainly is one I'm in compliance and one isn't. Okay, if it's a hustle or if it's a business, and typically just easy explanation looking at it. Just say you got your yard guy, Tony come by and cut your yard, or you got your landscaper. It's a difference. Your yard guy, he come in with his mower, blower, this, that, and that, and he cuts your yard. And you already know how much you're going to pay the yard guy. But when the landscaper come, because, certain things are in place, just say if he's, incorporated, got the website, and he may not, and this is the kicker, the landscaper may not do as good a job as Tony. But because he's set up with the website, with the uniforms, with, everybody looking clean cut or whatever, the appearance wise, all the aesthetics, the systems and everything's in place. That's what sets the difference of it, okay? And I think that's where a lot of people miss out on that, because again, I'm not saying there's going to be a difference in the quality of service or the product, but because that structure is set up in place, that's what get lost, okay? But you got to identify that first. When we start talking about you really have a business, you have a business or you got to hustle. Let me get a quick disclaimer. There's nothing wrong with either one of them. There's nothing wrong with either one of them, because at the end of the day, we'll talk about a little bit more in the show. You have to be realistic what you can and can't do. If you got a regular 9 to 5 and you cool and you're like, look, I want to make a little extra money, cool, get your hustle on. You can't really fit in and operate the whole business in that. So nothing wrong with that. You just got to be realistic about what you're doing first. You got to identify that. What do you have? Okay, that's the first step. Okay. The next question you got to ask yourself is, what do you want? Now this is where, going to what we were just talking about, you got to be able to identify, depending on what the capacity you guys are in, either, how involved you can be with it in regards to having that business or having that side hustle. When you start talking about a hustle, it's just something you're doing on the side, something that you want to make a little extra money. I state a lot of times, a lot of people go into business, but they really don't want to be in business. Because when you start talking about all the risk and all the scary stuff and all the BS you got to deal with having a business. I always say I work 20 hours a day, so I don't have to work 40 hours a week. When you get into starting a business, a lot of people have those, I want to, be, generational wealth. I want to be my own boss and all that kind of stuff. But in honesty, or in actuality, they really just want a job. Gonna pay them a little bit more money, right? All the other stuff that go along with it, the non-security, the stress and all the other stuff, they don't want to deal with that. If they could get a job that could pay them more money, probably a little bit more convenient, that'd be cool. But this whole gamut entrepreneurship, I don't want to do that. They don't want to do that, all right? Because you got to be damn near crazy to want to go through half the BS I got. I love it. I function in it, but it ain't for everybody, So I think that You got when I'm asking what do you want, you got to make sure you understand what you're trying to do, because that side hustle. You just look. I just want to look to be able to cover some of my extra expenses or a trip I want to have. Certain things you want to do. You just want to make sure that you're able to get that kind of stuff set up. And you start talking about with a business, you want to make sure that you can actually have things that are structurally sound. You in compliance with everything, and you're okay with that. You're okay with following the rules and make sure you get certain standards and everything set up. So you have to make sure that you're okay with that. And if you're not, it may not necessarily be the best path. That don't mean you can't change and adjust, but again, we have to go through that whole thing of just knowing who we are and what we're trying to do and where we at in life, and we can do it. Okay. I've been in business 20 years. I started my first business. My oldest son is 27, be 28 this year. When he was in elementary school, and my youngest son is 11. I have nowhere near the juice that I had back then that I have now. There are certain things I just don't want to do. Certain things just from a effort standpoint, I just really don't want to deal with. And I think that goes back to wanting to deal with certain things. So that's the thing you got to actually be honest with yourself about. You see some of the questions that came in. I got Shanika Spence. I'm the last few steps from only starting my business. Do you have any advice before I open? I'll circle back with you for the end of the show, Shanika. Be able to do on my own. Got you with that. Marcus Gore said, same for me, the leadership role of freedom is control. Great point. That goes back to, and that's going to, my next point that I want to get with everybody in regards to, we're talking about knowing who you are. Again, tonight, this is the Dollar Hour. I'm Deonte Burden, Mr. Short Dollar himself. Tonight's show is entitled, You're Not Really in Business. And we have an open discussion in regards to people in business having that self-awareness about what they are, what they're trying to do. Because, again, you have so many people out here, quote unquote, in business. They got the LLC, they got the tax ID number, and they about as much as a business is probably this cup of coffee. They actually have, legally a business, but all the other systems and stuff are not set up. They're not set up, and I don't necessarily know a lot of times if they're a real sense of urgency of getting in compliance. Okay. One thing I do want to share, I'm just thinking about what they just before I go into our next point. I had a client about 15 years ago. We just talking about structures and getting things set up. I had a client about 15 years ago. Came to get a tax done. He was a preacher, and he didn't have a formal church, but he was a preacher. He actually had a job, but he preached, and he had made so much money from his job. He came to me with this idea that he had moved all his money to a separate account, and he called the account tithes. And I ain't never known about the damn tithe themselves. So he was trying to write off the actual money that he was making. It's a true story, and he was trying to write off the money that he would wanted. And that session didn't go too well. He paid me his money, but I couldn't do his taxes. But he wanted to move in half his income from his 6-figure income too, and say he was tithing the church. There was no legal church. There was no nonprofit set up. There was no documentation to say he was actually in any kind of capacity to be receiving anything or anything like that. He just was moving money. I don't even know the man was a preacher. He seemed cool. He talked nice, so he might have been. But those are the kind of things I'm getting at. Like, listen, man, if that's what you're doing, and you're moving in, they had to be around about 50, 60 grand over the tithes. It wouldn't cost, a couple $100 for you to get the nonprofit and everything. I mean, more than a little couple $100, but a fraction of what he was moving over to get that nonprofit set up to have his church and everything. But I couldn't understand it. But that's going back to missing that opportunity. Now, he might have found somebody to do that for him. I don't know. But again, we're going to look, just be in basic compliance. And it's not that difficult. It's not that difficult. But you have to be in the mindset of you can be able to follow the rules with doing it. And if you don't want to follow the rules, it probably ain't for you. And I think that's what gets a lot of people caught up. Because again, we're at no shortage of people that have great skill sets, but the actual compliance part of it, I think that's where a lot of people get lost at. A lot of people get lost. I just closed a salon down in May. I had the salon 15 years, and that was one of the biggest things that always stuck with me. I bought that salon and didn't know anything about hair, but I know business operation systems, I design stuff. Now the salon was losing the creativity aspect, which I was able to kind of pick up a little bit, but because I knew how to run, a business, I was able to buy the salon for crumbs, turn it around and make it profitable. But one of the biggest things that I gathered from a lot of the people that worked in, and this is not a knock against barbers and beauticians, but the biggest thing I was seeing why, especially with that particular business, why so many of them fail is because they're gifted from a creativity standpoint, but the business part they were lacking. Certain mathematical stuff on the front end, just like now, because typically you go into a salon or a barbershop, you see all the aesthetics, the big TVs, the beautiful paint, the stuff on the wall and stuff. But at the end of the day, you got to be realistic about the money you got coming in, the money you got put out, what falls out at the bottom. And a lot of times, a lot of them in the negative, what's going on. And something like that was just glaring to me from the outside looking in, being an analytical person. I'm a numbers person, but it was just, it never even popped up to any one of them to even look at that. That was just amazing. But that was one of the things I'm just saying in regards to, from a structure and compliance standpoint, you got to make sure if you want to actually be a legitimate business, you have all that stuff set up. Again, get this disclaimer again. There's nothing wrong with hustling or being in business. You just have to be realistic of what you have, because you can't be, if you're out here hustling and you don't have the proper structure set up, you can't be trying to go ahead and get you a dang PPP loan or IDA loan or get SBA loan or try to get a government contract. It's not going to happen because you don't have everything in place. You just don't have it. And you can't act like they're tripping because you didn't want to take the time to get all that stuff set in place. So you just be realistic about what you're doing and where you are with everything. Because like I said, again, it's never really an issue of the service of the product. It just really, come down to the structure, right? All right, the next part is, it comes down to when you start looking at, hey, if I'm going to be hustling, this is very, very critical, everyone. Am I going to be hustling or am I going to be in compliance, be a business? And these are some questions that you got to ask yourself. And I think it's very, very important. You got to be very, very honest with yourself here. First is, which do you have the capacity to do? What I mean by what do you have the capacity to do is, when you start talking about having this money, if it's going to be a hustle or if it's going to be a legitimate business, we start talking about capacity is, how much money do you have to bring to the table with everything? Can you get, some kind of financing or someone help you out to get started? How much time do you have to do it? Are you working a full-time job and you're just free on the weekends, but you're trying to start, get this, a business that's going to need a little time to get into it, being realistic with that. How much knowledge do you have? It's just a matter of you just seen an infomercial, you're like, man, I could do that, and I want to try to do that. But a lot of times people can't do that because, again, they're just clueless about it. And if they're not going to spend the time, put the sweat equity in to get knowledgeable about it, is it, unrealistic for me to try to be doing that? And then most of the time, that's yes. So you got to ask yourself those questions from a capacity standpoint. What kind of money you can get a hold to, the time availability that you have, and from a knowledge standpoint, you got to be realistic with yourself trying to do certain things. There are a lot of business, me being a serial entrepreneur, if I feel like I don't have enough time to make a decent learning curve to understand what's going on, because, if you look at my videos, I say all the time, the difference between the employee and the owner is that the employee knows a whole lot about one thing. The owner knows a little bit about a lot of stuff. So I don't have to know everything. I can hire somebody to do it, but I need to know in theory what they're doing. I don't need to know exactly the whole task or what's going on, but I just need to know that that's his job to take care of those couple things. Now, how he does that thing, I don't necessarily be knowledgeable of, but how the whole puzzle fits together, that's what I got to know, right? And if I can't fit that into my schedule with my money, my time, and my knowledge, I stay away from it. That's just one of the things I look at it, because I'm down here in Atlanta, everybody and mama, wants to have, all these businesses and umbrellas and conglomerates, but they really don't even know how to run one damn business. So what happens, you got a lot of people burning through a lot of money because they never try to even master one thing. And there's nothing wrong with having different streams of income going out, but you got to be versed in regards to how to navigate one thing and how to navigate another thing and be able to fit that stuff into your life. And, just be, most importantly, knowledgeable how to even do it. Knowing, your interest level even doing this kind of stuff. Because again, we get a lot of times people start a business up. I see it all the time. People start businesses up. They're selling t-shirts. They got a logo. They post it on social media. They're ready to get everything sold. They go to a pop-up shop. They ain't sold a dang thing. They post it all on internet. Everybody's liking it. Everybody's sharing it. Nobody buying anything. And I share this with people a lot. Support is a very great word. Support don't necessarily come in the form of sales and revenue. Support can be just, hey man, good job, I'm proud of you. It can be from a share. It can be from a like. It can be the little bit, they might just think your shirt ugly. And if they're not interested in buying, they're not obligated to buy it either, right? So if you get started from an interest level, you like, okay, I'm going to go from, I'm starting from the dirt and I'm going to go through all the rigors. It doesn't matter. I'm going to find the people that want to buy my product or want to use my service. And I'm just going to go through all the lumps and bumps. And like I would tell people, you got to get them scars. Once you done got your scars, then you start healing and start making your money. But if you're not willing to go through the process of getting them scars, it's going to be very, very difficult because everybody genuinely can enjoy making money. Lord knows I do. And I don't like losing money, but I love acquiring knowledge and I love acquiring experiences, right? But everybody's not cool with it. We live in a microwave society. Everybody they don't want to look at the whole concept of delayed gratification. You got to be honest with yourself, what you're trying to do. You got to be very, very realistic about that. Is what you're trying to do with this business, is it feasible? Okay. Is it feasible with the amount of money you come to the table with? Is it feasible with the amount of experience, knowledge that you have? And is it feasible with the availability that you have? You got to ask yourself these tough questions. We start talking about in regards to just that hustle or having legitimate business, okay? All right. What I suggest is, what we're going to talk about now is having some kind of self-assessment. I talk about this a lot in regards to knowing who you are. A lot of times people don't want to do a self-assessment. Why is because it's painful, right? When I say it's painful, you have to look down at yourself and find all your flaws, what you did right, what you did wrong. And a lot of times when people have to have that accountability with themselves, it can be embarrassing. I don't really look at it like that because again, if things don't work out for me, I can like, man, I boogered this up. This is what I did wrong. But everybody don't do that with me. Again, I've been in the game for a long time, and if you're new to it, especially new with the business, a lot of times you can kind of second guess yourself, and that's understandable. With that, that's why it's so critical. We get in support groups, we go to masterminds, we get coaches, we get counselors, things like that, things you think you don't need, that you don't have to get, but that pivotal, especially to your long-term success, where you can just share successes and share failures and things like that. I always push to try to get in groups where you can do that, but have that self-assessment. What kind of attitude you got? Are you optimistic? You negative? You lazy? You got to ask yourself them questions. And how you are is how you are. You can't just trip and try to change. If you know that you're a type of person that don't take certain things serious or whatever and stuff, what you can and can't do with certain things in business. If you know that, you don't like dealing with stress, you don't like surprises, you want things to be laid out a certain way, I'm just saying, business is the best thing for you. Now, you can hustle because you got a lot more control with hustling. But in business, you have a lot less control because things happen that you can't ever control all the time. And you got to be kind of responsive and reactive with things. And also, they have some kind of proactivity with some operations as well. And if you're not the type of person to be on top of that kind of stuff, you need to be realistic with that. Do you want results fast? Are you cool with it coming slow? Is your temperament, you kind of impatient person or whatever? Like I said, again, do you like following rules? Do you like structure? You got to ask yourself all these questions. These questions are very, very important in determining what kind of temperament that you're gonna have in business. And if you know that certain things ain't gonna fall into place, you just gotta, and it's nothing Don't ever look at it when you look at certain things as a failure. You look at it like, look, I saved myself some money. Uh, one business I had was a studio. Me and my buddy had a studio right outside Turner Field near downtown Atlanta. It's about maybe I would say it wasn't 20 years ago, about 17, 18 years ago, had a studio. I know nothing about music. And my buddy, he wasn't too much further off from me. He knew a little bit more than me. But you know, both of us were businessmen. We was like, okay, we got some extra money. Let's go get the music. It's Atlanta. We're just gonna get us a studio. Let me tell you something. I talk about this all the time. I'm always just burning some damn money up in the flow. Because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. He was just enamored with meeting rappers and singers and stuff, and we just boogered it all up. And I thank God, because one of my best friends from elementary school, we was smart enough to come to the point, look, let's go on and say this shit and get out of it before we hurt our friendship. But it goes back to the whole thing. We didn't know what the hell we were doing, and we didn't take the time to do it. I had 3 businesses going on right then and now. And again, he was telling me that he had the system set up in place to do it, which he didn't. And me not looking at certain things, it didn't work out. There were so many things that we learned from the experience. God knows I did, that shaped the way I do a lot of things now, because we lost a lot of money on something I think that we looked at from the outside as easy money, but we lost a lot of money in doing it. So I really think it's very important for anyone to make sure they're observant, be very, very self-aware of your temperament, your personality, how you think, how you move. Because again, don't ever look at it like I can't. That's not determined you can't do something, but all that stuff comes into play. Look at your family situation. Is your relationship stable? Is your marriage stable? Is your kids okay? Do you got problems? All this stuff got to come into play, right? How's your health? All these kind of things got to come into play when you start trying to do add these kind of things with business, because business is very dang stressful. Anybody follow me know me personally, 6:37 in the morning, I'm going to the gym. I got to work out, got to break that sweat, got to get my head clear, whatever. Former military, so I'm going to get my physical twice a year religiously for the past 20 years. I do that. I got to figure out, because if this car ain't working, we ain't driving nothing, we ain't making any money. You got to make sure that you're straight mentally. If you're not going to be on top of that, you see some of the older business owners, guys, 70, 80 years old, they still walking and jogging because they understand how important physical and mental health is and stuff. So you got to kind of take all that stuff in. Family situation, things that you may think is totally irrelevant to the business, that really doesn't have anything to do with the business, but it's so important to the business, because if things at home ain't right, things at that business ain't going to be right. Okay, so you got to make sure all these things have been taken into consideration. Okay, again, tonight's show we're talking about, you don't really have a business. We're talking about having an open discussion in regards to, if you want to have a quote unquote real business or have a hustle going up. And again, giving that disclaimer that neither one of them is not a right or wrong. It's just really knowing yourself and how you fall into the parameters of what will be best for you. Right now, I want to give a couple of pros and cons about both of them being a hustle or being having a legitimate business. And some of the pros having a hustle, I'm looking at that you can conveniently move. You can start it up. You got your pressure washing service. If you want to just post a couple times, say, hey, listen, I got a pressure wash. Y'all need some, your deck pressure wash your house. You do a couple posts, ride around, open up your van, in any kind of, shopping center, wash some cars and stuff. It's at your convenience when you want to get it done. You can start it, stop it within time you want, move how you want to move with it. You got your lawnmower and blower. When you ready to go do it, like I said, a couple shells, couple posts, couple phone calls, put the word of mouth out there, boom, and you're in business. You have that flexibility, you can move like that with a hustle. You don't have any commitments. And people, when I say commitments, like if somebody tell you to cut the grass tomorrow, that's a commitment, but there's nothing contractual. Okay, you don't have, where you have to go make sure you're at Walmart, every second and third Tuesday. You have to be at this church every, the last, Thursday of the month. You don't have those kind of commitments. You doing it at your leisure, at your availability. Okay. You don't have the stress that a person with business got. You ain't got to You ain't got the deadlines and all this other kind of stuff to make. So again, you though from a mental aspect, it's not going to beat you up as much, right? Some of the cons with having a hustle, it sometimes gives a negative perception, even if you're doing everything right. Because again, when I gave the example of, Tony the yard guy and such and such landscaping, Tony is way better than these guys because Tony been doing the actual landscaping work for 15 years. He did it as a kid. They got some little high school kids riding around there because they working for their uncle or their daddy, and because they have the actual appearance, it looks like that. They may be making some mistakes here and there. Tony will never make those mistakes, but because they're in compliance and everything, all the aesthetics and everything is there, nobody ain't questioning the damn thing. So it's like some kind of a negative perception. You can lose a lot of opportunities because we talked about those opportunities to get funding, being from grants, loans, contractual opportunities, even just people just want to look at certain things. You just miss out on it because the perception, the compliance isn't there, and those are things you just won't be able to get. Okay. The other thing is going back to not having those commitments. You don't have consistent work. You have, in regards to, you have people out here hustling that stay busy all the time? Absolutely. But they're hustling and staying busy all the time. But if a person's situation change, they change. So just say if they, you cutting somebody's grass and young lady grass, she get a boyfriend. Like, I don't want him cutting the grass anymore. That stops. But if you cutting Walmart grass, you stop when the contract ends. People's lifestyles can change. People can move and all those things like that, and that stops it. Whereas the contract is going to be all ongoing regardless of the situation, right? So that's where the consistent work in. But you can have some things be busy if you're hustling, but it's not nothing that's concrete that you can weigh on, or bet against, right? Because if it's consistent and everything that's contractual, you can actually get funding based on certain invoices and contracts, right? Let's move over to the business side. Okay, we're talking about business. We got a proper business, it's properly structured and everything. And we'll look at some of the pros and cons with that. Some of the pros of having a business is you got consistent opportunities coming at you, right? Consistent opportunity because they know your structure, they know you're properly set up. Of course, you got to do your sales and marketing to acquire stuff. But again, because you have that there, you got a better chance of doing it, especially, properly priced. Now, if you're going to be Mr. Cheap person and stay busy all the time and stuff like that, that's fine. But if we talk about really making money, you got everything set up, systems in place, prices in place, marketing, advertising in place, you can stay pretty busy. You have the opportunity to get contracts. You have the opportunity to get contracts. You have the opportunity to get financing and lending opportunities, grant opportunities, because you are in compliance to do that. You have the opportunity to get counseling from banks, from other organizations, just say like your urban leagues and things that have like a lot of free services, the SBA, all the places, because you have an actual quote unquote business. The SBA will help you if you front end looking to get a business, but you have to get a business. You have those opportunities to get those kind of counseling and structure there because your actual legitimate business set in compliance. You have opportunities to grow. Okay, your hustling gonna be hustling, right? But if you have the legitimate setup or business setup, that's when you can grow fleets. That's when you can get multiple contracts. That's when you can scale your business up and do certain other things. You started off making cakes in your kitchen, and there's a legitimate business. But now, because you're scaling, you can rent out kitchens, right? Now we can outsource certain things. We can get fulfillment centers, and now we're selling certain things that we're not even touching all around the world, right? You can actually do that when you actually have a legitimate business growing. You can't do that when you're hustling, okay? Some of the cons of having a business, you have those commitments. Those commitments can, wear you out, because again, when you have those commitments set up, people have expectations. They want this at this particular date in this particular fashion. Standards are set, and you got to be able to meet them, and that can be very, very, very stressful, right? You've put it out there. You got to meet these deadlines. You got to meet these commitments because you want your dang money. So we got to make sure we have all those things in place, okay? So having those commitments and the stress level is very, very tough. Also, the liability with doing certain things. Liability not necessarily you got a loan for somebody, but the liability that if you don't meet certain standards or meet certain goals or meet certain contracts, you can get sued. So you have those kind of things on you to do it. Now, again, we understand the risk of doing that, the reward for getting it, Usually reward is going to outweigh that, and a lot of times, a decent amount to do that. But you do have those liabilities of doing that, having that, because again, when you have those things set in place, people have expectations. They have expectations for a certain standard, for a certain way they want things done, and you gotta be able to meet it. Okay, those are pros and cons with hustling and business. And I want to kind of get ready to wrap everything up. Is at the end of the day, you just got to make a decision on what you want to do. Because tonight's show, we're talking about, again, you rely on business. What do you want to do? Do you want to have a business? Do you want to hustle and enjoy doing it? And there's nothing wrong with dibbling, dabbling, trying to figure it out. Nothing wrong with that. I love anyone that wants to get into entrepreneurship. I love it. I'm self-employed. I've been in the game for a minute, and I understand. I function totally from the perspective, I love my freedom. I love my freedom. And I'm very respectful on someone that doesn't want that. Someone, I say all the time, you can't have the freedom of entrepreneur, but you want the security of an employee. And you got to be realistic where you fall into that, right? So I respect anybody that want to get up and go to work. I don't want to do that. I respect you. I hope you respect me. I can get less, but at the end of the day, I always say, make sure you're honest with yourself and be okay with that, right? You can't go on nobody's job and tell them what to damn do or how you want it done or how they should do it, because it's theirs, right? But you can't have your own damn business and just be sitting here scared about the money. I'm tax business. We start spending money. Well, we're going to do a little early this year, but we definitely on average start spending money late October, November, December on marketing, training, and all that kind of stuff, putting all this kind of money. We don't start receiving money from preparing taxes mid-February, early March. Who the hell else got a business where they're putting out money for 4 or 5 months out of the year before they see any return for it? I understand that. A lot of people don't want to deal with it. They want to actually do work and receive money there, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you can't go out there on your own and have the expectations for that, and you're business for yourself. You got you a landscaping business, you got your electrical business, you're doing these contractual jobs, and you're doing it, and they might even be contractual. You're actually doing the work, you're invoicing these people, and you're hoping they're going to send it back to you in 30 days at most. During that whole time, you wait for this money to come in, you still got to do what? Make payroll, pay these people, pay all your expenses, your rent, your utilities, and all that kind of stuff, and also have some kind of money to pay yourself. You can take care of yourself. If you don't want that stress, entrepreneurship may not necessarily be for you, right? And like I said, again, you got to be realistic about what you're trying to do with that. I feel like whatever way you choose to do, you're gonna have success either way. You got to say if you just want to hustle or if you want to be in business, because that's what you call to do. You just got to be honest with yourself, right? And don't cut no corners. Don't try to fake it or whatever. You're going to be successful either way. You're going to be successful hustling. You're going to be successful in business, because, again, your action, your movements, because you're happy, is going to make you successful. If you just want to hustle up, make a little money so you can go on a cruise or whatever, you can buy this car or pay off something early, you're going to do it, and you're going to be cool with it, right? You're going to go in that little parking lot, watch all them cars and stuff like that, got some extra change, bam, you went and took care of it. If you want to have this business up and you actually stayed up all night, got this paperwork so you submit to the government to be 8 Alpha certified to get these contracts, you're going to love it, because that's what you want to do. You can't be trying to do what you think you want to do or what you think is going to make you a lot of money. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if your goal is to make money in business, you ain't going to last too long, because the money don't come like that. When you're hustling, you do it because you acting and getting. But when you're in business, you acting and waiting, and then you get it. You got to understand that concept. You got to understand it. That's how that goes. And if you ain't kind of cool with what you're doing and you don't like delivering certain things or whatever, it ain't going to last too long. It ain't going to last too long. But that's why I say you're going to be successful either way you're doing, because you like doing it, right? And I think it'd be much better for you in the long run if you're doing which one you think is best to call for you. So make sure you're doing that self-assessment to know your temperament with everything. So again, I hope you enjoyed the show tonight where we talked about you aren't really in business. We had a good discussion about it. I've been running my mouth about an hour. So what I want to do right now, but before I do it, I'm going to do a disclaimer again. I'm streaming live right now. The show is Mr. Short Dollar. We talk about personal finance, business, entrepreneurship, and investing. Streaming live now on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Please, please, please follow us on whatever platform you're on, but definitely go to the YouTube channel, which is our main hub. Have over 300, right at 300 videos, I think, on Mr. Short Dollar. Videos in operations, financing, grants playlist, entrepreneurship playlist, business playlist, personal finance playlist. All the information is there. So please go to the YouTube channel. That's the main hub where all the videos are stored at. Okay, we're streaming on the other ones, but that's the main platform all the videos at. So please go to the YouTube channel, Mr. Short Dog, and subscribe to it. So with that said, I'm done running my mouth. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm finna go back and look at all the questions that I have so I can try to answer everybody's questions. So if you got any questions now, please, the floor is open. Ask your questions now with that. Let me see the comments here. LaDon Jones, please, I apologize if I mispronounce your name. My heart in the right place, you know. Just I'm a proud APS graduate. Some of my spelling be off, pronouncing be off sometimes. Hey, just looked at your last video, but it's gone. Do you have a contact? We talk tomorrow. If you're looking at us on the YouTube channel, I know we stream live. I just want to let you guys know any one of my videos in the description section, all the contact information is there from all the social media platforms, the my company website, contact information. You want to book an appointment, all that is there. We have opportunities to book 10-minute free session. You got to have a 10-minute question now, a 30-minute session, and also an hour session, what it is with that. But all the actual contact information is in the description section of the videos. Because we're streaming live, you probably can't see that right now. Now on Facebook, on Instagram, sorry, and TikTok, you don't see that because they don't give me an opportunity to do that. But if you're looking at on Facebook and YouTube, looking in the description section of any one of my videos, if you go put in Mr. Short Dollar on YouTube or Google Mr. Short Dollar, you'll see my big head will pop up. Go there and you look at one of the videos. In the description section of every video, all the contact information there for all the different social media platforms, the office number, the company website, links to book appointments, everything is there. So that's the easiest way to get in contact with us, depending on what you want to see from now. See right there. Take you off. Let's see if I see any other questions. Feel free to submit any questions right now. You see, I got VRD, great show. What are your thoughts about decentralized finance and getting funding from community DOAs? Not really for sure what the DOA stands for. Decentralized finance, that's a whole nother show with doing that. I think, I'm just say this in regards to having banking industries and people that do certain things. I think if everybody was on the same page and knowing how banking system, how people were knowledgeable about with doing money. I've been in financial services over 25 years. Some people on top of this stuff with their finances, some aren't. Some things that some people think is just common sense. Some people just totally clueless on. And I never trip on that, but I just, I know what I know. Same thing with me. My best friend is a mechanic. Been working on cars and moving kids. That's some things I can look at a car. I'm like, man, what the hell is that? You're like, oh man, Dodo, this is what this is, because he deals with it. He's familiar with it, and I don't necessarily know if you have enough people. I definitely know you don't have enough people that are interested in finance to understand the complexities of not having having a decentralized financial system. I just think you need to have structure in for a lot of people. If you have a world where everybody could function, with straight discipline and they know how certain things, it probably a little different, but you don't have that. That's my personal opinion on that. Let me see if anything else. I ran my mouth for a while. Marcus Gore, do you have knowledge? Do you have the knowledge before the project? I think that was just a comment on now. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Also, man, it's been a great discussion. If I missed anything or whatever, like I say, all the email addresses, everything's in the description section. Again, if you follow us on TikTok or Instagram, you can always go to the YouTube channel, Mr. Short Dollar. Again, you can just Google it, Mr. Short Dollar. The channel and everything will pop up. So I'm very accessible. I get phone calls all the time to the office with that. Again, you book an appointment for a 10-minute session, they'll lock you in on the calendar. Because if you call the office, man, they said be able to talk to you right then and there. But if it's something that you need further consulting on and everything, like I said, again, you can Google me, Look at my LinkedIn. All that stuff is on the description section. You know, give you an idea of my experiences and things like that. You know, all that stuff is on there. So I think, you know, if you do have any further questions, you know, just reach out to me from there. Okay, VRD, that is decentralized autonomous organizations, community votes on proposals. Again, you know, what the question is, I'm sorry, DAO is decentralized autonomous organization. The community votes on proposals. Again, I think that you don't have enough people around. Well, I believe, I'm gonna say I think you don't have enough people around that are versed with run their own financial systems, keeping certain, you know, just having that community mindset to be able to do that, understand how systems. I did a lot of work with county governments for 15 years, so I understand a lot of how local governments work with doing it, and I don't think you have enough people that have an interest in doing it, regardless of a knowledge of doing it. Is anything possible? Absolutely, but I just don't think you have enough people that are interested in doing it. In theory, they'll say, hey, we need to get this less government, you know, we can have this whole community idea of doing things, but their movements on a regular day-to-day basis don't say that. The mouth say one thing, but their movements don't say the same, you know, the same thing. I think it's a great concept. You know, you start looking at, especially you start looking at other countries, especially like you look at like some of the tribal organizations, you know, again, and I understand they have a difference in technology. In regards to, you start looking at tribal organizations, but they pretty much are having their own financial system, have their own rules, how they doing everything, functioning independently. But I just think it'll be a little difficult to do with the way the world is now, because the world is flat. Everybody's sharing information. We're doing business with people on the other side of the world from our living rooms. So I don't necessarily know if it's viable now. Anything is possible, but I'm not necessarily a pro for it. I like the way things are with doing it, but I think anything's possible with doing it. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not as versed. I know theoretically, you know, because I have a finance background, supply chain background, theoretically what you're talking about, but I don't necessarily know enough to give you a solid opinion and say, hey, this will work and that wouldn't work and everything. I just give you answer the best I can with that. And I apologize if I didn't answer your question. I think I did, but I apologize if I didn't. Also let you guys know we got a lot of great information coming out the month of August, guys. First thing I wanted to let everybody know, make sure if you're in business, you go to that grant playlist. We had 3 or 4 grants that were just running through the month of July, but remember we got over 150 grants listed on the YouTube channel. So go through that grant playlist. Some of them are rolling grants where they're always going on and stuff. Apply for it. A lot of people hit me up and say, well, I got denied. Why would I play if I'm going to get denied? Hell, you got everything to gain and none to damn lose. So why not apply? I mean, that's the thing about a lot of times people, you're not going to get certain things in business because you want everybody to give you something. But damn it, just apply for it. You are not losing anything. If you got a chance to get $10,000 by putting your name, website, and bid, do it. You are not losing anything. And if you always want people to get you certain things, and you haven't done anything for it, you're going to be in business too long. I always tell everybody that from a grant perspective, grants are very, very difficult because they're giving away the money. All right. So again, you know, it's by you knowing they're giving away free money, it's going to be a lot of you out there looking for it. It's not going to be easy to get. So you need to make sure if you're legitimately in business, you're trying to get these kind of things, you need to make sure you put yourself in a position to get other modes of funding. You're setting your businesses up where you're actually making certain revenues, but you got to kind of think like that. Now, you can't have this open hand mentality. Well, I need this, I need that. But damn, if you really, what you need is to make sure you got a viable business and you going out there, you know, grinding. That's how it is. I know, like I said, I've been in business 20 years with my tax business, and I did a whole chitlin circuit the first 3 or 4 years. And it, you know, I got to laugh and crying about doing it, but at the end of the day, that's why I'm in the position I am now, because I went through that. Same thing with this YouTube channel. We went almost 3 years before we started making any money with the YouTube channel, but I didn't quit, right? There's some things that I really got a little bit into, like, nah, this ain't for me. Like that studio. And I was realistic, like, nah, this ain't my, you know, this ain't my cup of tea. I don't have an interest in doing it. But you got to be realistic about, most important, the commitment you're putting in. Because a lot of times people quit or things don't work out and they feel like, you know, it's other people of what people didn't do. And a lot of times just come to us, okay? I mean, I got Andrea Blue. How do I go about pulling up the list of videos you have done? Go to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you'll see the the link that says playlist. If you hit on playlist, all the different playlists will show from that point. Like it says, almost 300 videos on there. I know we have a business playlist, entrepreneur playlist, and a lot of the videos are tied to more than one playlist. Grants playlist, finance playlist, all that is on there. So on the YouTube channel, Mr. Short Dollar, you'll see the tab for playlists. You'll see different video lists, maybe the new video, the ones we had the most views for. But if you hit the tab that says playlist, that'll show all the different videos segregated, on there and stuff. Okay. BRD, it's been transformative for undeveloped areas, especially. I appreciated your videos on PPP for minority lenders. That's how, okay, cool, awesome. No, my pleasure. And listen, guys, if you guys can do me one favor, please keep spreading the word about the channel. We're gonna keep giving you guys a lot of great information. We got a lot of great information coming down the pike, a lot of good stuff coming down. So keep supporting us. We're gonna keep giving you guys a lot of great information. I always tell people, especially when you're doing this whole YouTube thing, a lot of times people get on YouTube and they want to just sell products and do things, or they want to just go out here and make money. And I can honestly tell you, I've been a part of the Black Speakers, Black, I'm about to booger the name of it, Black Experts Empire. With Lawrence Watkins, have been in there for the past couple of years and stuff. And part of that, well, one of the key principles we always talk about, your business is going to explode when you're helping people. And because I've been able to help people, share all the knowledge that I have, I've seen everything flourish for myself and everything. And I got a great passion. And anyone knows me, I'm a big community and civil servant. I'm in a lot of nonprofit organizations I volunteer for. Proud board member, 100 Black Men. So I'm always out here in the streets and doing stuff. Been coaching youth football over 20 straight years. So I love helping people doing certain things. But again, I think the mindset goes into that, we're going to make money. We want to make money. Like I say, ain't nobody like making money more than Deonte Burden. But you got to make sure you're helping folks. You can't always just come out with this. When you coming out with this, even sometimes doing this, you'll see a lot of your successes change phenomenally. Even if you're doing well, when you out there giving, man, things turn around. So again, that's why we have a great passion and love for helping everybody. So again, it's been a great show, everybody. I want you guys to make sure you're being safe out there and stuff. Do all this, the different practices. Make sure you're wearing your mask and stuff like that. So make sure you tune in to more videos. Love you guys. Keep doing what you're doing. And I'll talk to you soon.